And we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bigfoot Odysseys and Researchers Reports. I'm Kerry Arnold. With me, as always, producer and co-host of the report, Miss Daniela Aiolo. How are you, dear?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, excuse me. That's not the hiccups. That's just me being out of shape. Our guest for this evening, he is the Squatchin Cowboy on YouTube, Mr. Joe Pass. How are you, sir?
Howdy. Howdy.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
We're gonna take just a few minutes, let people start pouring in. We'll make a few announcements. Are you doing Saturday's Researchers Report? Is it Saturday, same time?
No, it's
You changing it?
could be Sunday, it could be a Friday.
Okay.
It'll happen. Well, it won't be Sunday because Sunday's anything goes with me and Jason.
Oh, that's right. New show for Sundays with Jason McLean.
Yeah, we're talking about anything.
Jason McLean, he's such a great guy.
He's
very knowledgeable about all this, anything cryptid or out of the ordinary or not. He's just a very knowledgeable guy.
Yeah.
And got the SHUDDER. Got a new episode coming out right after this. It's 3 encounters of white Bigfoot that I searched for. Still looking for people to send in encounters. Do I have I do. Here's the email, readmynarrative@gmail.com. If you want to send your encounter into the SHUDDER and have doesn't have to be a Bigfoot encounter. I just do, creepy stories or whatever on there. And a big shout out to Crispin Keeney, Lindsay Bay, and Miss Nedra Smith for the PayPal contributions this week. Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate that. That means more than you know right now. All right. Well, let's I think we're good. We'll go ahead and get started. Joe, you are the Squatchin Cowboy on YouTube. I got to watch one of your videos earlier. Danielle sent me the link. And we'll put a link to Joe's YouTube channel in the description.
it's
It's there already.
Yeah.
Danielle is so far ahead of the game.
She's
so much better at this than I do. I do it by myself. So what made you want to start doing this? Did you just believe? Have you seen one? What's the deal here?
Well, I've never seen one, but what got me started in it, I guess, back in 70, I guess it was 70, I seen the Patterson Gimlin film, and I know it was filmed in 67, but I don't think I seen it till like 70s, and I thought it was amazing. And then I think shortly after that, Legend of Boggy Creek came in, and I watched that and got me kind of hooked. But girls and rodeo and
Sure.
party and stuff like that. Bigfoot went on the back shelf until
no, I was going to say
recently when I retired. So I just thought, I guess I'll go out and do what I've always wanted to do, really.
Well, talk to us a little bit about what you've encountered so far. I mean, I know you were talking about hearing some knocking and stuff on a camping trip earlier. Why don't you tell us that story?
Well, it was Kenny Collard and I want to say hi to Kenny. He couldn't be here because he has to work tonight. But we went up to Oklahoma, up by Tallahena, and to a friend of mine's place, Keith and Sabrina Bethel. They got, I think it's like 3,000 acres up there, privately owned acres, family owned. And they only lease it out, for deer hunters during deer season in Oklahoma. It's like 2 weeks in December, I think it is. So there's nobody ever out there during the rest of the year. I mean, nobody ever comes out there with pastures. So we went out there. Keith was kind enough to let us camp out there. And second night, we was camping out and everything was getting kind of slow. I mean, there wasn't no sound, just quiet and everything. So I said, Kenny, let's see if we can't get the coyotes going. I said, all right. So I just let out a big old holler, and sure enough, the coyotes busted out And after about 10 minutes, they calmed down. About 15 minutes later, we hear almost identical to what I did, the big howl, and the coyotes start busting loose again. And then the coyotes die off. And then probably 10 minutes later, we're sitting there, Kenny's in his chair trying to get his recorder to work. He's pressing all the buttons and everything. We hear we heard a wood knock, and then another one, and another one, and another one. And then stopped for a couple of seconds. And then it did 4 more times, then stopped for a couple of seconds, and then did it twice. And I wasn't really one to believe in like tree knocks, because what does Bigfoot do? Walk around with a tree limb in his hand, you know? And whatever it was a big stick hitting against a live tree. I mean, you could tell the difference between a stick hitting against a dead tree. And this was, I'm saying, about 100 yards away from us. And Kenny was on the fence about Bigfoot. I kid with everybody, I said he's the Renee Holland of me and him from finding Bigfoot. And that changed his mind that night. After that, we stayed up all night long, sitting in the chairs with guns in our hands, because we didn't know what was going to happen next. And I went out there. I couldn't find a stick or nothing, but I just picked up a couple of rocks and banged them together. Nothing the rest of the night.
But you know, there's something about coyotes. You know, if you know anything at all about the woods, and you know, there's really nothing to be afraid of when you
Right.
hear coyotes, but there's still something about it when you hear it. It just kind of gives you that creepy feeling. You know,
Yes.
you hear them off in the distance, and they could be 150, 200 yards away, just cutting up, barking. They don't really howl. It's just kind of high-pitched yipping. You know, you can tell when it's coyotes, but there's something creepy about it. I don't know what it is, but
Yes.
it doesn't help, you know, and then all of a sudden you get all this other activity that, I mean, what knocks on trees other than a woodpecker, you know, and you can tell when it's a woodpecker. Usually it's not, you know, a baseball bat type hit, you know, against a tree. So what else does that? A deer? Yeah, but not in rhythm. You know, there's not going to be any rhythm to it. So, so you research, you go, obviously you have a partner that researches with you.
Yeah, Kenny Collard.
Kenny Collins, unfortunately, he had to work
Collard,
tonight.
like
Collard.
collard green.
I got you. Collard.
Like I say, he had to
My
work
apologies.
tonight. He had to work tonight. He works Wednesday and Saturday nights, and then all during the week. And he just bought a new truck, so he's got to work to pay for it.
Well, maybe we can get him back on another time with you.
We will.
So what do you guys do? What do you set a game plan? You're in East Texas. So tell us what it is that you do. What are you looking for when you get out there?
Well, the way I do it, I kind of study up on it and see what kind of look for a hot spot, you know, something recent. You know, if I see something that's back in the 70s and nothing's been seen since, you know, I'd rather have something within like a 10-year period or something, you know.
Right.
And then we just kind of go to them places, and we just try to set up some game cams, and we actually walk around looking for tracks and get the night vision out. And I don't know if you know about night vision, but it's hard to walk with night vision.
Yeah. Oh, it
When
absolutely
you're,
is.
you're an old man.
Well, the thing about East Texas to me is, you know, there are a lot of reports come out of East Texas, at least as many as the Pacific Northwest. But the thing about East Texas, Florida, a lot of places in the South is they're aggressive. They're a lot more aggressive type of encounter, especially in Southeast Texas, East Texas, Florida, Louisiana, all those places. They're really aggressive encounters. What have you found so far?
Well, we went down. Our last trip was down to the Sabine River bottoms, which that's my latest video. Matter of fact, the conclusion of that video came out this morning, and I'd found a track down there. And when I went out in the woods, I made a bonehead mistake of not carrying my backpack with me. I have all my casting materials and flagging tape and all that stuff in my backpack. And I went out in the woods, just me and my camera. Didn't take my pistol with me. And sure enough, I came up on a track. There was actually 3 tracks. The first track, it'd been muddy out there because the river bottoms look like it'd been flooded. If you watch the video, you'll see where it's been flooded out there. A lot of rain. And the first track is kind of like on the side of a hill. It looks like when they stepped, it slid. So you really couldn't make out the whole track. But then the second track, I think, was the right foot. That's the one that I took the pictures of. I got pictures of it. And then the third one looked like he tried to step up on the hill and slipped. You know, how you slip in mud, you know. So the 2 tracks wasn't worth anything. But that one track that I have pictures of in the video, that's the best thing that I found. And in Oklahoma, I found some, what I call juvenile prints, right on the edge of a creek bank. I found some footprints that are about 6 or 7 inches long. And this is private property. And they don't have kids. And who's walking out on this creek bank?
A barefoot in the woods. You know, if it's a creek, you can say, okay, people are down there swimming in the creek. But it being private property, if it's in the woods, you know, people don't normally go down there to the creek, and it's only 6 or 7 inches long. That's not a, you know, that's a kid essentially.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to put 2 and 2 together, you know, when you find some of this stuff. And you have these tracks on video. Is it one of your last videos you just put out?
Yes, part 2 and part 3, I think, is on the pictures of track on part 2 and part 3. There's 4 parts to it. I usually keep my videos about 15 minutes long. Just kind of splice them up, you know?
Right. Well, just want to let everybody know, we will take questions from the chat. We still got 48 minutes left in the show. We will take questions from the chat, probably the last 20 minutes. So if you want to get your questions ready for Joe or Daniela or myself, make sure you put those all in capital letters. Makes it a lot easier for us to pick out. And shout out to all our moderators. Thank you guys so much for helping keep the chat clean and everybody behaving themselves and not fighting amongst each other in there. We appreciate you guys for doing that very much. Daniela?
Your channel's called the Squatchin Cowboy, the no BS approach to squatching. What's your no BS approach?
You will not see me taking pictures of dark spots in the bushes.
Oh,
and
I'm subbing right now.
That. If I come up on a dark spot in the bush, I'm going to try to get closer to it, throw a rock. All this while I'm going to be filming. Nothing happens, I'll get a little bit closer. If it's a Bigfoot and it wants to eat me, I guess I'm dead, but at least they'll get a camera out there that says I was attacked by a Bigfoot. And I won't take pictures of burnt tree stumps from, 200 yards away with a flip phone and try to tell everybody that it's a Bigfoot and get my little red pen out and draw a Bigfoot in the, I ain't going to do that. There's too many channels out there that are doing that, and I don't want to do that. If you can't make it out, I'm not going to post it.
Sounds good. So you've been obviously been looking at how people are going about stuff, and you can see yourself that there's a lot out there, isn't there, that are not really producing, qualifying. Nothing qualifies, does it? But there's a lot that kind of gets put out there that is just bush.
Ambiguous. We'll call it ambiguous at best.
Yeah.
I probably could have a lot more subscribers and viewers if I posted something about Bigfoot talking to me through the windshield or something,
I need to try that.
But I won't do that. I'm not going to do that. I think there's some people out there that don't want to see all that BS.
So what are you doing with your trail cams then? Because don't seem to be very successful with trail cam pictures. Are you putting them in a different way? Are you being a bit more clever about where you put them?
Well, I usually put them up high, point them down. And some of the trail cams I have, most of the trail cams I have are the old ones with the flash, not the infrared. I think that people say that, oh, you're never going to catch a Bigfoot on trail cam. I just say one of these days, one of those Bigfoot's going to slip up, and I'm going to be ready. And then, I got probably 6 or 7, or Kenny and I have about 6 or 7 together, and we just kind of put them up high along a trail, pointing across a trail, because people say you don't need to put them on a trail, but a lot of sightings are people walking down a trail and a Bigfoot walk across from one side to the other, So, and a couple of my Oklahoma videos, I got a bunch of the trail cam videos on there. We had one that, which probably somebody you don't see too much. I had a video of a bobcat carrying a squirrel.
Right.
That's a pretty good video.
Yeah. What, tearing a squirrel, did you say?
Carrying.
Yeah, he was carrying a squirrel.
Oh, right.
He was walking down the trail carrying a squirrel in his mouth.
Right. Okay.
Totally. You know what I find interesting is, and I make note of this whenever it happens, and it's happened a few times here recently, is to have someone that does anything of note, creates a YouTube channel, does the whole Bigfoot thing without having experience, just going purely off of interest. Now, the common denominator in that to me is that you've had the interest for a very long time. We had Lyle Blackburn on here, Ken Gerhardt, and those guys have been interested for 20 plus years in the subject. So they just kind of got into it just to see what was going on. I think a lot of people do that, and they're ill prepared. And what I mean is, you and I kind of discussed this before the show, Joe, is people go out looking for this creature, and then they may hear something, and then they take off running back to the truck. The thing that they're out there to get is right there, and then they're hightailing it out of there. I just think it's a rarity to run into people, because I don't run into many, and I talk to a lot of people that are in this subject and do something with it, just purely on interest. So I got to commend you for that. What about Mr. Collard? Has he had any type of experiences?
Oh, well, in one of the videos, it was getting late, so he went out to set out a trail cam, and I sit there and put up the tent and wait for him to get back, and I was going to gather firewood, but he went to set up the trail cam not too far away from camp, and he told me that he heard something big, heavy footsteps. Now, this is coming from Kenny, and Kenny is really a skeptic about it. He's not now because of what we found, of what we heard, but big, heavy footsteps. And then he turned around and looked, and he said something was tearing ass across through the brush and stuff. He never did see it, but he could hear it. And so I got through setting up the tent, so I jumped in the side-by-side and went on down. By the time he got back, it was already dark, and I was going to go pick up some firewood. And I carried one of those little bitty flashlights with me. You can't see more than about 10 feet. And I was picking up firewood, and I picked up a piece of cedar, and I broke it in half. And when I broke it in half, I hear boom, 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 and it stopped. And I thought that whatever it was just stopped and turned around and was looking at me. So I jumped in that little old side-by-side, and I went as fast as I could back to camp. And I told Kenny what I heard, and he goes, "Man, that's crazy." He says, "Because just upstream from you, just a while ago, I heard big old giant footsteps out in the woods." He said, "But I wasn't going to tell you anything about it because you think I was crazy." I said, "No, it seemed like he was walking down that creek, because where I was down below where he heard the big footsteps." And that's what made me say that I won't go back in the woods again unarmed or without light.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Whether you think a gun is going to stop one of these creatures or not, there's just something about having one that makes you feel better.
Sense of security.
Definitely that. I carry mine. Look, we live on the edge of town where we live here, but there is several thousand acres of woods just right here to the side. And I've heard things out here that I believe, I didn't acknowledge them. I think they're there. And we were mowing. Linda was mowing. We have a riding lawnmower and it's so small. And I'm 6'4", about 260 right now, maybe 255. I put on some weight. But I can't get on it without my knees being up here, looks like I'm riding a tricycle. And it just kills my back. So Linda mows. And I'll go through and pick up limbs and cut, with the pole saw or whatever. But I'm wearing my pistol every single time. And she kind of laughs at me about it. She's out there in nothing but, her shorts and bathing suit or whatever, mowing the yard. And I'm out there full garb with a pistol on my side in the backyard. So I do it no matter what. I'm going to have it on. I'm not going to be without it. So.
Joe, have we been talking to people in the area that have had experiences?
What was that?
Have you been talking to people in that area who have had experiences? Yeah.
Yeah, people send me stuff all the time. That's how I met Keith and Sabrina Bethel up in Oklahoma. They messaged me, and Keith told me of a encounter he had when he was 15. And he said he was scared to go back out in the woods again at night. So he wanted Kenny and I, he seen a couple of our videos, wanted to come up there and check it out. And then the Sabine River bottoms, a guy messaged me and told me about, he's seen one walking across the trail. And you can only deer hunt down there. There's no other hunt down there. I think you hunt hogs. He said he was out walking the trails, and they got hiking trails. And he said he'd seen something about 100 yards in front of him, big and hairy, walking across the trail. And he told me, he said he'd seen some of my videos, and he wanted me to come check it out. So that was the start of my last 4 videos, the Sabine River bottoms.
I've gotten several.
That's where I found the track.
That's where you found the track? I say I've gotten several. Yeah. I've read several encounter reports, like really scary encounters from the Sabine River area. They're a lot from Toledo Bend on the Texas side. And
that's on down from where I was.
Yeah, and that whole Sabine River, just the whole river bottom, all the way through, it just seems like it's inundated with Sasquatch, the whole area. I think if you find someone that's got property around there, you'd be hard pressed to if they would tell you for them not to have experienced something there. Mike Kirkpatrick says, what was that?
Sorry, that's where he was, Sabine River.
Mike Kirkpatrick.
So we had this encounter.
What park were you at, Mike?
He and his wife, I think they were at a campsite somewhere and had all kind of activity there, I think, for the entire day. Fishing, and we had was it Mogollon? Mogollon Monster has had Toledo Bend National Park. Yeah, I've just got an episode of the Shudder that's going to come out after this on the other channel, and the last one is from Toledo Bend of a white Sasquatch. All the encounters on the next one are all white Sasquatch. It was kind of white. He said it looked like a gray wolf. The way it was kind of white and light gray all over. I think it was just an old one myself, but apparently it was massive and it scared these people to death. But it was, to me, it's a good encounter. Hope you guys listen to that.
You put a video out saying, what would you do if you found dead Bigfoot? Did you get a lot of comments on that? What were some of the more?
Yes, I got over 4,000 views on that.
Well,
most of them were pretty good. I got some crazy ones though, man. I think me and Leon, when he was talking about it before, I got one guy said he put it on Craigslist for sale.
That is funny.
But I did a part 1 and part 2 of that. And that's been my best video so far, because I guess just because the name Dead Bigfoot, everybody thinks I found a dead Bigfoot. But first thing I say in there is, what would you do if you found a dead Bigfoot?
Well, so what would you do?
It's not. Watch a video. No, I would. I'd say in the video that I would try to find a storage shed that had like electricity in it, and buy some freezers. But somebody told me since then not to freeze a dead big any kind of body because it kills some kind of DNA or something like that. So don't freeze them. That's what they was telling me. I don't know how to do that. I don't know much about it, but and then I would get it in somebody else's name, and I wouldn't tell my family or friends or anything, because if the government found out you had one, you know, they're going to harass your family, and they're going to ask your wife or whatever, your spouse, where's the Bigfoot? If they don't know, you know, they ain't going to lie to the government. And then I get a hold of Dr. Jeff Meldrum and tell him what I got, maybe send him some samples. And a lot of people say, Dr. Melville. So,
Never catch him.
Yeah. And
she didn't do a whole lot with the sample she had.
I would let them, you know, announce it to the world what it was. That way it wouldn't be so much stress on me.
Well, I know what I would do. And we were fortunate enough. YouTube has stipulations and guidelines for being able to go live remotely, like with your phone. You got to have 1,000 subscribers. You got to have like 4,000 watch hours or something like that. But fortunately enough, with Bigfoot Odyssey, we're there. So what would I do? I would go live right there, and let everybody see exactly what I found on the Bigfoot Odyssey channel. Here it is. So what can the government do to you at that point? You know, if they do come
tell them where it is?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I would show them everything I possibly could. I probably wouldn't touch it. I would get a stick and poke at it, you know, but you know, as long as YouTube or whoever would keep it up there, that's how, you know, until my battery died, that's how long I would go, just showing people, look, this is what we found. And then obviously we try to get it out of there and do something with it. But, you know, if any agency or whatever came for it at that point, they would just be giving themselves away, because you'd have that proof, that evidence, I guess, of you, even though it's video, you're live. And here's this huge body, and, you know, you're showing the face and the features and all the movement and, you know, those things like that. I think that's the best way to go. I mean, other than grabbing it up, loading it in your truck and taking it to a news station where they can go live with it and broadcast right then. I mean, but then you're kind of taking a risk. You know, I guess it depends on how big the Bigfoot is that you find. If you find one that's 800 pounds, you're gonna have a hard time getting that thing out of the woods. So even with 5 or 6 people. So that's what I would do.
When you say you're going to get freezers, Joe, how much of the body would you want? All of it? Would you need it all? Would like, you know, a hand or a head do?
You know, it's all speculation what I would do, but I would try to take it all. I mean, I wouldn't want to hurt nothing. You know, I'm not doing this to hurt anybody or nothing like that. But I would love to prove it just to shut them disbelievers up. You know?
Wouldn't we all?
And then that's all. And then hopefully the government would say they're endangered species and protect them from anybody hunting them. You know, make it against the law to kill one.
You really think that would be an issue, even if they were validated tomorrow, that it would be even possible for 1,000 people to go out and actually kill one of these creatures? You think that would be an issue?
I think there's some people out there, and some people in the Bigfoot community. I think you might know a couple of them that would.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, having the, you know, wanting to do that and having that, you know, moral deficiency, you know, about you, and having the ability to do it, that's 2 different things. Now, that's what I mean, is you think they could actually find one and kill one? I mean, it's happening now. They had a show called Killing Bigfoot. I don't think they ever killed anything but time.
Yeah, made a lot of money.
Yeah, that too.
TV show.
That's true.
I don't know. Like I say, there's one that comes off the top of my head that would do it, but I'm not going to say his name. But
yeah, that's what I mean. You know, would do it is one thing, but having the ability and the capability to actually find one, and when you do find one, then to be able to kill it and then get away from all the rest of them if that were the case, and then get it out. You know, do you think that's actually possible? I don't see it happening. Even if they're validated and 10 times more people go into the woods hunting for them, they're just going to stay away from us. As far as I see it, I just don't.
Yeah, they're going to go deeper in the woods.
Right. I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
What do you think about gifting? Have you thought about doing anything like that?
Yeah, my idea of gifting is probably different than a lot of people's. You know, a lot of people go out there and find a tree stump and put some apples and some oranges or whatever on a tree stump and come back in a couple of weeks and it's gone. And they think a Bigfoot did it, which it could be anything. I don't know if you've ever seen those around Thanksgiving. They got turkeys, those nets they put around a turkey, frozen turkey.
Mm.
I have one of those. I would get some fruit and put in one of those little nets and tie a rope around it and hang it up into a tree, 8 foot tall out on a tree. That way, it'd be a little bit harder for a squirrel or birds or, you know, whatever to get to. It'd be, you know, 8 foot up in the air. So that's what I would do.
Mm.
Well, I got a
I
question.
think, you know, it could be, people could be, you know, Bigfoot could be coming up there getting that stuff, but, you know, it could be 1,000 other things too.
Make it harder at least, you know.
Yeah, make it a little bit harder.
I got a question for you. It's probably one of the bigger questions that anybody would get asked. There are people out there that know these creatures exist. I'm one of them. You know, we know they're out there. Why do you think the average person, and we haven't heard about the average person, finding one of these creatures dead in the woods somewhere, or finding a skeleton or digging those up? Why do you think that is?
If they haven't found one?
Right. As far as we know.
I just think they bury them. And, you know, I've watched videos. I can't remember which video it was. They had a deer and they tied it to a dead deer body carcass.
Mm-hmm.
And they staked it down to the ground and put a time lapse video on that. And I think that was in East Texas or Southeast Texas. They did this to this deer. And in less than a month, it was gone, bones and all.
Yeah.
And plus,
yeah, that's
how many times you walk out in the woods and see a bone? I mean, what makes you think it's not a Bigfoot bone? I mean, when I walk out in the woods, it might be a dead cow. I don't really pay attention to a big bone in the woods. I mean, it could be a Bigfoot bone, but I don't know what Bigfoot bones look like.
Well, I mean, you're right. That is one thing, especially where there's, you know, the United States is pretty acidic, you know, especially where there's pines and fir trees, and, you know, nothing's going to last very long. But I think you hit the nail on the head the first time. Personally, I think they bury them. I think it's just the nature of the creature to remain hidden and to stay hidden, and for them to leave one of their dead around for us to find is not doing that. So,
what about those rogue? What about what you say could be rogue? You know, ill, nasty Sasquatch that just, you know, go their own way. What happens to them?
I think they go as deep as they can in the woods. You know, like if a dog or cat goes to die, they try to go out, you know, get away from everything. And I think they just go deep in the woods and, you know, maybe under some briars or something, you know, crawl as far deep down as they can to die. That's my thought.
I agree, though. I mean, stuff can get eaten and by anything, you know, even down to the bones. Insects will eat bones, and so what other methods have you got? Are you planning?
Any methods that I have? I don't know. I just kind of play it by ear when I go out there.
Trial and error.
It all depends on, you know, where you are, you know. And like up in the mountains, when I was in Oklahoma at the Comanche Mountains up there, it's a little bit different than Sabine River bottoms. There's still mosquitoes up there, though. Last time I was in Sabine River bottoms, I thought they were going to carry me away.
Do you hear of any other sort of reports of stuff around that area? Different stuff, not just Bigfoot.
As far as like Dog Man or something like that. What you trying to say?
Maybe Dog Man or UFOs or lights or anything.
I haven't heard of anything recently, but I remember when I was driving my truck, I'd stopped out in Arizona. You've probably seen the video of it. I had parked in the desert right before you got into Phoenix right there. And I'm on the phone to my wife talking, and these lights come over the mountain. And I'm sitting there telling her all about this. And then a year later, the video comes out of the lights of Phoenix.
All right.
So I'm a believer of UFOs because I seen that. So that was pretty interesting. And they were going, up and down all around. And like I say, you can watch the Phoenix video, Phoenix lights on YouTube. And I was sitting there watching it as it happened. I was out in the desert watching it. It was over the mountains.
Wow. We got here's a comment here from Standing Ghost Rescue. This is Donnie Miller. It says, Kerry, I have found a huge bone, 8 feet up on a broken tree. Found it while live streaming. Donnie, he's the guest I had on the other night on the late show. This is his channel, Standing Ghost Rescue. We're trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers so he can start going live from the field. So I just want to let everybody know, if you haven't already, go and check out Standing Goats Rescue. Donnie Miller, a great guy, had an incredible encounter face to face with one of these creatures. And if you haven't watched that live stream, go watch it. It'll grab you. You could just tell the whole time that he was very uncomfortable, and he's a great guy. I talked to him for hours, and I'm not trying to take over the show with this, and just trying to put a little bit more content into this than what we have had. But yeah, go and check that out. Standing Ghost Rescue is the name of the Bigfoot channel, is the name of the YouTube channel, and he does live investigations. So see if we can't get him up to 1,000 so we can get those live streams while he's in the field.
I'll try to help everybody I can.
And Joe, you guys are trying to do the same thing, right? Trying to get you guys to 1,000 subscribers. That's the thing about 1,000 subs, is you're able to do a lot more. You can go, be in the moment and having something going on around you and go live right then. And even though you could record it and do that stuff like that, but there's just something about being able to go live while you're in the field and having the people at home join you. It's
I really wanted that.
Well, for anybody that's out there, you're taking your time out of, even though you're retired or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're taking your time to go out there and do this for everyone else. It's not just for you. If it was just for you, you wouldn't be putting it out on YouTube for the rest of us, right. And that's a good thing, because there are people out there that can't do it. They are interested. They want to know. They want to be involved and do something in it, but they can't get out there and do it. It's just whether it's a financial or a physical limitation, they can't do it. And I'm glad there's people like you and people like Donnie Miller that are out there, not in it for anything other than looking for the truth, the best they can, and show everybody else what they're getting. So please go subscribe to these guys. It's nothing but a button hit. Just hit that button, and when the bell comes,
it don't cost anything.
Doesn't cost a thing. But the thing is, a lot of people watch YouTube from their television, and if you do that, you can't hit the like button and you can't subscribe for some reason. So if you're on your computer, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe.
I've had two people message me and tell me that they were disabled and they couldn't get out in the woods, and they love my videos because it feels like they were right there with me when I was videoing. And that right there, when they told me that meant a lot to me. That was really great.
Absolutely. We get a lot of messages, emails all the time, and it makes you feel good that you feel like you're actually doing something, productive in the subject. Now, if someone wanted to go with you, would you take them?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got 2 people lined up right now.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to contact you, how could they do that? Do you have an email?
My email is ridingfences22@yahoo.com. It's RIDIN fences. There's no G in there. Like you ride fences, like back in the old West. The Cowboys used to ride the fences.
So it's riding what?
RIDIN fences 22@yahoo.com.
Have you got it, Kerry?
Got it. I think. That it?
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
So they can contact you there, just email you, and you are in East Texas. So anybody in that area that wants to go out, do a Bigfoot investigation, I'm pretty sure Joe doesn't charge anything.
No. All I say, if you want to go with me, you bring your own food and your own tent and your own beer.
No doubt. I may want to actually go with you guys one day, and we'll get the cameras out there. We'll make an Odyssey out of it.
Hey, I'll come down to Mississippi for it with you.
Well, I don't have anywhere to take you. I don't do Bigfoot research. I don't have any desire to, but I do make films, and I make them about Bigfoot researchers. So that's one of those things that I may just travel over there to you one day, and we'll do a Squatchin Cowboys Bigfoot Odyssey.
And can I say another thing about subscribing? People say, well, you're just in it for the money. You know, and if I did get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and I did get monetized for it, that's only going to go into me buying better equipment, gas money, food, you know, to go to different places.
And
you
then
don't get that much
money.
To go to places.
And you don't get that much money out of it. If you know you get 4,000, 5,000 views on a show, that's about $30. So, but I mean, that's $30. That's that goes into it. Yeah. And that does help out. But I don't, that's not being in it for the money. Trust me, there are people that do charge a lot, and that's on them. You know, they charge $4,000 or $5,000, take people out and have a Bigfoot experience. Some people don't like that. I don't understand why anyone has anything to say about it. If someone has that much money and they want to pay somebody $5,000 to go out there and do it, more power to you. If that's what you charge,
that guy in Canada.
Yeah, well, whoever, there's several of them that do it. If you want to do that, that's on you. That's on them. If they want to charge for that, that's how much they feel like their services are worth. Everyone should value themselves in one way or another. I don't fault the guy for doing that. It's just one of those things that people get upset about because someone's making money, I suppose. I don't know.
I do want to say this. If you come with me, you got to have your own ride. Because if you're scared, you want to leave, you're going to take your own car.
No doubt.
Because I'm not taking you out of there.
Tracy makes a good point here. It's all about bringing people with you and experience what is going on. I think, more heads as well makes for better judgment, doesn't it? Makes for a better kind of, you can assess it better between more people, can't you? If you're going out and meeting up with other people and throwing ideas off each other.
Yeah, no, the more the merrier. Absolutely.
And when we go out, we don't go out like we're hunting for Bigfoot. We go out like we're campers.
Let them come
we
to
go
you.
out, sit around the fire, have a couple of beers. We walk around like we're hiking, bird watching. We don't wear camo because, like I told Daniela the other day, who walks in the woods with all camo on? Hunters. Do hunters have? Guns. So if a Bigfoot sees a guy walking through the woods all camoed out, first thing he's going to think is, man, that guy's got a gun. I'm out of here. So we just go in T-shirts, jeans, or whatever, and just walk around like we're just hiking around. Like we're not even for Bigfoot. We just casually walk around, do stuff.
Froze up.
Might come back.
If you can hear us, Joe, your
around the fire.
It's trying to come back. Your internet's frozen up there a little bit, buddy. While we have that, there's this right here, and I want to address this right quick. Are you putting any more stories on your channel with you and Mark? Miss Donna, she's talking about the podcast we did with Mark Zaschke. It's called Mark and Kerry A to Z. Is on hiatus. Since this Corona thing hit, I lost my job. Mark Zaschke lost his job. He had to get another job, and he's out on the water all the time, on the ocean in the Atlantic all the time, guiding for fishing. So he doesn't have time to do it. I've got it on hold. Anybody that's subscribed to that, you're not getting charged for it. So whenever we do come back, we'll turn the payment back on for that. But I'll let everybody know when we do. We're not done doing it. It's just kind of on hold. for now, just because of everything that happened. He didn't have the time to do it. And when he came in, he was just so tired, and you know, I'm sitting here at the house, so I started another channel, the Shudder, and started putting stories up there. So
Did I make it back?
You made it back. You did. Well, welcome back.
I got bad internet out here.
Got another question for you from Leon. Joe, what has been some of the frustrations you've encountered since you came online?
Since I came online, just the trolls, really. I mean, I guess I'm a sensitive guy. I mean, I don't like anybody saying, I mean, it's constructive criticism, I guess, but
if it's constructive, if it's constructive, that's one thing. You know, criticism is one thing. Constructive criticism, you know, suggestions, whatever, is another. But
I get a lot of people saying, all I see is a bunch of walking around, wasting my time and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, how is she going to find Bigfoot? And then I get this. Well, you don't find Bigfoot. Bigfoot finds you. And I always come back with Bigfoot can't find you sitting in your house.
That's true. Yep.
Boots on the ground.
I mean, that's where Bigfoot's going to find me. Is in the house. He's going to find me on the couch. He's going to find me sitting here at this computer doing something. If he's going to find me, that's where he's going to find me. Or out in the yard.
You're going to go out with me, and he'll find you out there in the woods in your sleeping bag and carry you off in the mountains, like that one story about that guy. You heard about that one, right?
Yeah, I actually did that story.
Long time ago.
1924, Albert Ostman, sure enough, up in British Columbia.
Yeah, British Columbia.
Yeah, at the Toba Inlet is where he was, and he got picked up and carried off and held captive for 6 days, and had an incredible story. I told it on the Shudder. I told it on Story Time. It's incredible what happened.
I'm putting that.
Don't forget to carry a can of snuff.
Yeah, saved by a can of snuff.
Filmer Bobcats. Sorry.
No, I just said I dip snuff. I know that stuff's not good to swallow, so I can imagine how that Bigfoot felt. What were you saying, Daniela? I'm sorry.
Filmer of Bobcats wanted to see that email address again. Hilton Whittlewood. How good at rodeo was Joe in his day? What did you do?
I was a bull rider, and I wasn't worth a darn. Too big.
You was too. Yeah, my father was a bull rider too, and I did it for about 4 years. I don't think he did it that long.
I figured out there's got to be a better way to impress the girls than get chased by a bull.
So it's better if you're smaller, I guess. My dad was a big guy too, and I don't know how he's probably a lot smaller back when he did that. And then, I mean, that's a young man's game too, isn't it?
Yeah,
those guys retire at like 25.
I was thinking about 13 or 14 when I first started. I quit when I was 18.
Yeah, I went to a high school that didn't have a football team, but they had a rodeo team in Oak Hill High School in Calcasieu Parish, Louisiana. Yeah, that was the last year I went to school was there, and it was ropers and wranglers. All the people that were on the rodeo team. Yeah, they were the studs, you know, and some tough guys. I mean, they had a basketball team too, but if you were on the rodeo team, I had zero interest in it.
I think I won my money back one time.
Here's a good question for anybody. Why do we seldom hear of Bigfoot breaking windows instead of just looking through them?
I don't know. Maybe they don't know they can break them.
Yeah, that's
one of those things. What
about just pressure, though? If they were just leaning on it, they could easily, you'd think, push something, an old glass in old doors or whatever, you know, thin glass.
Well, I think the idea is observation without being caught, you know, kind of like a peeping Tom. And, you know, breaking the window, there goes your observation post. You know, so maybe that's the thing. I don't think to me, Sasquatch is not grounded in morality one way or the other. I don't think they're good or evil in any sense. As far as, human, putting human limits on these creatures and how they think and feel and believe. I think it's all about survival. And, there's just certain things that's something that's, even if they're curious, they're just not going to do, is put themselves in a situation to where now there's a lot of these human beings out here looking for me because I made a mistake and let them know I was here. So I think it comes down to that. I don't think they're going to, I think you have to do something to them to get them angry with you or cross a line somehow. I don't think they're just going to bust into you. I think it would have happened a lot more. And that we'd hear about a lot more if that were the case. It just seems obvious, because we know they're there. We know they're out there. It's obvious they're not busting in people's homes because you'd hear a lot more about it, I believe.
I think they're just curious and want to sneak up and see what's going on. Be stealth as they can.
And if you have your lights on in the house at night, you don't have to be close. You can climb a tree and watch from 50 yards away through the window at everything that's going on. People watching TV or in the kitchen, in the house,
Sound like you've done that before, Kerry.
No, I've never done that. But you can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. I can sit out there in my yard and see my TV on through the window. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more the case. We got any more questions?
We live in much older houses over here because Fred Muppet, who lives just around the corner from me, you just, some of these glasses in these houses, you just need to breathe on them and they'll crack, and I would just imagine a Bigfoot putting his nose up to a window one day and it just going, but who knows?
Oh, you're in England. You guys have been around a lot longer.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Plus, I think when people moved over here, they weren't making their houses out of stone, and I think maybe brick homes came around the late 1800s, but and you'll see some of those around now. But in England, it was huge. It's a lot like huge block stone buildings and stuff that have probably been there 400 or 500 years, huh?
A long time. The Romans brought it. The building taught us how to build. But we waited years before we thought it was a good idea. Just built shacks and then thought, hey, why don't we copy the Romans? But yeah. Any more questions, anyone? Mike Patrick, do you all think law enforcement has Bigfoot protocol?
I don't know. I wouldn't. What do you think, Joe?
I don't know. That's hard to say. Kenny's in law enforcement, and he'd never say anything about it.
I don't think it's specific. So, I think they have protocols for strange things, possibly, but not specifically Bigfoot. I mean, that's admitting that there's a Bigfoot, for people in an official capacity, that are paid by the state, that they're just not going to do that. I don't think so, anyway. But as far as protocol for something strange happenings, all that, I'm sure they do.
Maybe the army do, rather than the police. Another suggestion.
Yeah, maybe more the army than the police. But you're not going to get anything out of those guys.
Yeah, they're going to say, "What? What are you talking about?"
Right.
They're not going to tell you if they did.
We got any more questions? Anyone?
Got one right here from Donnie. It says, do any of you know what the grunting sounds mean? Anger. I don't know what it means. I mean, it could be a form of communication, possibly, for each other, for as far as grunting, at us, they're giving themselves away, obviously, when they do that. So I would think if they're doing it at us, then yeah, it's probably going to be, out of anger or trying to scare you. I think they know, some of them especially know that they scare us. Oh, Linda's home.
In my Bigfoot Oklahoma video, I never did hear it when I was out there, but my wife was watching the video, and I can't remember. I put it on my timeline, but somewhere in there, I hear something, everything goes quiet, and I turn the camera back around, and I'm panning real slow through the woods. My wife heard it. She heard a grunt, and I went back and listened to it. Sure enough, it's like a grunt off to the left of me. And it was just funny that the grunt happened because I turned around to look, see if there's somebody behind me or something behind me, because there's hogs out there. And Keith said there's been mountain lions been spotted out there. So, I mean, even if I had a gun, it ain't going to do no good for a mountain lion. But, you know, like I said, it makes you feel better to have a gun. But she heard a grunt, and I didn't feel threatened or nothing. It would just surprise me that everything got real quiet and it sounded like something walking behind me.
That would just unnerve me completely.
Yeah,
Now,
like I said, I didn't hear it, but it would have. Like, when I heard it, when my wife pointed it out to me, I'm like, damn, you know, that sounded pretty close.
well, talking about grunting and vocalizations, you think that'd be counterproductive for anything that's trying to actively remain hidden. And, if for someone that's up close, and for something to make that vocalization. Now, hearing things in the distance, that's one thing, but to hear them up close, they have to know you're there. To me, if you're in the woods, because we're very clumsy species when we're in the woods, we're not the stealthiest thing out there. And it's hard for us to move through the woods quietly. So for one of these creatures to make itself known by making any kind of sound, a vocalization, a scream, it's got to be a warning, you would think. Just hate to go back to that, but it just kind of came into my head.
You say a lot about, they want to keep it hidden. What do you think about the gifting then? Why would they interact and take the food or whatever if that's what's going on? Why would they even engage with making someone know that they're there?
Something new.
I think it's about trust. I believe these creatures are emotionally intelligent, and I don't think they're all the same. I think their lives are formed by their experiences with life, just like ours are. And if they've had good interactions with people, then they're probably going to be a lot less likely to be aggressive toward those people. So I think if you do it for long enough and you develop a certain amount of trust with one another, I mean, you can befriend a bear, as long as you've earned that trust, a deer, whatever, you can have them come up to you. I don't think it'd be any different with this animal, probably harder. I've heard several people mention Kevin Lang and Glag, and, he had this relationship with this, juvenile Sasquatch for a long time until it grew up. That's probably not something that's going to normally happen if, the parents are around, especially, but I just don't see it happening for someone to go in to the woods and just start off the bat having positive interactions with, even if they're there, you're leaving stuff for them. I think it's going to take a while just to develop that trust and that relationship. And then
a long while.
They're smart enough to know your intentions and our tendencies. And I just think that, you can have these positive ones, but I think for the most part, they're staying away. They're watching. If you cross the line, they're going to get you, at least let you know it and run you out of there. We have seen that.
I don't think they're there to hurt you. People talk about the throwing of the rocks and the tree knocks and stuff like that. When we heard those tree knocks up there in Oklahoma, I didn't feel threatened by it. It surprised me. I just felt like that Bigfoot was letting me know that, hey, I'm here.
No doubt.
Kind of watch what you're doing, tread lightly. But I don't think it was there to hurt me. And then the next trip we went back up to Oklahoma, it was about 12:30 at night. We was just about to call it a night, go inside and sleep. And just before we started to go in, we heard this big roar, just rah, and then like 15 seconds later, we heard a whoop, not a whoop, but whoop.
Right.
And me and King couldn't believe it again because we wasn't ready, wasn't prepared for it. But we're learning, I've only been doing this for a year. I mean, as far as making YouTube videos and stuff and recording stuff, and all that good stuff, I'm still learning. I'm not very tech savvy, but some of my videos you can tell.
there's something that Mark Zasky told me. He said that they had to learn the hard way. He calls it ABF, always be filming. If you can have your camera on, have it on. Have enough battery to serve the entire length of your filming capability and have that camera going. But hey, we've reached the end of our hour. I want to thank Joe Pass for coming on here with us, and hopefully we can get Kenny back on here with you another time. Once you guys have had a little bit more experiences, and you feel free to come back on here and talk about those at any time. Make sure you go and subscribe to Hidden Existence. That's where you're going to get the next researchers reports. That is what day, Daniela?
It'll be probably Saturday.
Okay, so we'll be Saturday. Probably
What time Saturday?
7:00 p.m. Central. Or you gonna do it earlier?
Maybe a little bit early, maybe 6 o'clock. I'll
Okay.
put an announcement up soon.
If you subscribe, you'll know when it's going to be.
Yeah.
Hey, how about that? So
I'll
go
let you
subscribe
know.
to Hidden Existence. Make sure you subscribe to the Shudder. I got a brand new video coming out right after this. It's 3 stories of white Bigfoot from the Deep South. Really, really good stories. I think you guys are going to enjoy those. So subscribe to the Shudder. Go subscribe to the Squatchin Cowboys on YouTube. Make sure let's
The
help
Squatchin Cowboy.
the Squatchin Cowboy, even though there's 2 of them.
Hey,
It's the Squatchin Cowboy.
my next video coming out next week is about a white Bigfoot in Adair County in Oklahoma.
Oh, fantastic. So subscribe to the Squatchin Cowboy. Link is in the description. Also, go check out Standing Goats Rescue. Let's help get Donnie to 1,000 subscribers so we can get those videos from the field. Thank you again, Joe, for joining us here. Thank you, Daniela.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
as always. And y'all have a good night.
Good
Bye,
night.
Daniela.
Bye, Joe.
Bye,
Thanks a lot.
Kerry.
Good night.